Welcome, listeners, and thanks for joining us. And welcome in studio, our guest today representing the city of Elko. We're so pleased to be sitting across from our Elko City Fire Chief, James Johnston, and our Elko City Fire Marshal as of about 6 weeks ago. Welcome, Seth Frandsen.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. And we're going to be talking about the city fire department, right, Chief Johnston?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. And there's a lot to go over today. No, let's talk about water and sewer. You do a lot of work with them too, but I had Dale Johnson on recently too, and he gave us a great update. Well, speaking of, Chief, why don't we start with our flood assessment? Because as things warm up, we're going to start to see the rivers rise, creeks, and we want to be aware of the places in the city of Elko where we don't want things obviously flooding.
Right. And after the 2017 floods, we had a lot of different infrastructure affected in different areas. And one of the things that we came up with was to do a viable assessment that included a firm and a third-party engineering firm that could come in and truly evaluate what we have and to give us a good project list. And we're really fortunate that City Council approved that this last session. That's going forward in June. We do have to get final approval from council, but we're really excited to be able to start looking at projects. I call it like a river resiliency plan. Lee has also been a helpful partner with that, with the county.
Lee Cabanis?
Yeah, County Emergency Management Office. And we're just really fortunate to have a really good team to look at stuff like that with. We were hoping to apply for the BRIC grant. However, that is being revamped and taken off the table. But there's tons of other opportunities that we're going to look for funding and improve the drainage and that whole area for flooding. Right now, we're sitting actually really good as far as runoff goes. I'm not sure of the county areas and Lamoille in it, but for the city, 10 Mile, everything coming into the city is really mild compared to even last year. When we had some pretty good runoffs and rainfall, we're still at levels that we can maintain, and there's not a lot of threat that is occurring within the city.
I know Clint Mothershed was on the radio just recently and talked about he doesn't think, or forecasters, meteorologists don't think that we're going to get much of a monsoon, which should also be helpful, with all that moisture. So that, could alleviate some of the flooding. Yeah,
it's like you hope for rain, and then you don't hope for rain, and then you get too much rain, and
yes.
Life in the high desert. But this year I actually like to see a lot of rain because I love it when things are green. But the growth comes with the green, and then the drought occurs, and then we have vegetation that definitely has some fire potential.
So things are looking good along the Humboldt River, which flows right through Elko under 12th Street and Ericart, right?
Yeah, and actually I will say too, right, where those softball fields are, the floodplains that exist over on that side, improving those areas were a big help with Scott Wilkinson and James Wiley. They did an amazing job making all that work too. So it really came together when you look at how vulnerable our city is, and then also the strategies we're putting in place, even at a smaller end, to make that less of an impact.
And then obviously older areas of town might be prone to having some storm drain backup issues, right? That's where residents can help out?
Yeah, we talked about this last time too. You definitely have to be careful because sometimes those drains pop up, and to go out there and to think that you're going to clear it away and then you're in drain, which is kind of bad. So my advice is if you can't see it, don't even go near it. Call us.
Okay.
Call the street department or the water department, whatever the issue kind of looks like. If it's drain problems and if all fails, just call 911 and we'll sort it out from there.
Yeah, anything that's creating, because when we get these windstorms coming through and then these little kind of flash flood I guess incidents, because then the tree branches can clog up those gutters and drains. So that's the problem.
Yep.
All right. So keep an eye open for that. And then, as you said, the flood assessment, that will be back before the council in June after some careful work on that. Huh?
Yeah, we're really excited. Like I said, that's 2 years in the making for me. It was a project that Jan supported and also Julie Davis. And we've we've been applying for a lot of grants to follow up with it, but we're excited to have a project list and then to tackle some flood projects along the river. I think it will really show that we're trying to move forward and make that area a little bit more resilient.
That'll be nice. It's important for recreation, but it's also right there. It abuts Southside residents and businesses. And as you mentioned, we know what happened in 2017, and that was just heartbreaking and disastrous, and certainly was not anticipated. So.
Right, and this time, or if it happens again, we're going to be just a little bit more prepared.
Oh, definitely.
And then also some mitigation projects that we can do prior.
Good. All right. We'll look forward to that report coming out in June. And then you've got Seth is working on himself, the adoption of new fire codes. And this is something that cities and counties, municipalities kind of go through every few years. I'm going to scoot that mic up to you a little bit, Seth. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Yeah, Seth. So again, welcome to the position of Fire Marshal. Again, having lots of experience, at least 16 years with the city fire department, and congratulations on your new position.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
It's been quite the transition, but it's been really good. I've enjoyed it. So we're starting the process of updating the international fire codes. Right now, the city follows the 2018 fire codes. They're updated every 3 years, and recently the 2024 codes were released, so we've been looking at those, finding the big changes that could affect those fire codes and how that can affect our community. So it actually kind of helps me in a way as I'm learning this new position and getting into those codes. It's been helping me understand them a little better, start memorizing some of those things. But yeah, we're starting that process, going through those codes. Here in the next couple of months, we're going to be meeting with some of the local builders and the people that we work with closely when it comes to those codes and those requirements. So we'll get some feedback from them, and then we'll also meet with each city council member, go through them, what some of the concerns that they have, and go through those. But along with the codes, the Northern Nevada amendments are something that we're also looking at as well. It's a group of fire departments here in Northern Nevada that get together, and when the codes come out, they go through them and they'll amend some things within those codes that could be better suited for their local municipality or their jurisdiction. So we're looking through those too. There are some things in there that we'll adopt or that we'll ask to adopt, and then there's some other things that that may not fit Elko and the needs that we have or the needs of the builders or the council members. And so we'll kind of sort through those together as a team and present those for adoption probably, or for potential adoption here in the next few months. So.
Well, that is a big project, and it sounds like you're off to a great start because you are involving local builders. They're usually the ones most impacted, at least up front, and they have a lot of ideas too. And then, as you said, prioritizing, fire, life safety. Could there be an example that you could give us of an amendment, something that might be included or something that could be excluded as we're going forward, since we know one size doesn't fit all?
Yeah, so there's not too many that exclude. Usually the amendments go to make the code a little more strict. So the big topic is sprinkler systems. The amendments, they ask for fire sprinkler requirement at 5,000 square feet. It doesn't matter what building, whether that's commercial, residential. So that's something that we'll look at and we'll speak with council. I know it's been kind of a hot button topic here in the last few years. So that's something that we'll work with them and see if we want to follow that, or maybe we'll just follow what the International Fire Code does. So that's where we can kind of piece together things in the amendments that we want to follow, or just fall right back to the International Fire Code, and we'll see what fits our community best.
And that, again, will be the topic that you discuss with builders, and you're even planning to have a town hall for the community?
Yeah, we're hoping to do that, get some feedback, and hopefully we can have some good dialogue and conversation where we can all come together and get to a good resolution with that adoption.
And something else that's occasionally a beef is that the city and the county aren't on the same code, right, Seth? Is that something to consider?
Yeah, sometimes, especially with how close we work and some of our boundaries overlap. So that's something that I'm still figuring out myself in this new position, is kind of where I guess the things that I need to work on and what city, what's county. So again, still trying to build some of those relationships as I'm working in this new position and figuring some of those out.
All right. I might defer to the chief a little bit too on that one. Is there usually an effort to get together, with the county and talk to them about their adoption and work more closely so it benefits the resident?
Yeah, and that's a really good point, Larry, especially when we look at the code in general, right? Like, we tend to focus obviously on fire because it's what Seth is geared towards, and then also what we try to adopt and make our community safe. But it also with the ICC building codes and mechanical codes is an update to theirs, the building code as well. And they have their own group, and the county is included in that. So the county will update theirs to 2024 as well. So and Jess is the county inspector, and he's been involved in that process also. Jeff Ford will head up the city portion of it, and I believe they're going to do town halls also the same time we do. So, but I will say, to add on what Seth was talking about, we don't intend to add any additional sprinkler restrictions or compliance. We definitely want to make sure that we're open and transparent in everything we're doing. We've already met with a couple of builders, and we talked with Lisa Turner. We talked with a couple other concerned builder coalition members, and there is a place and a time for it, but the occupancy definitely makes that more of a restriction. That's what we're going to stick with. So basically no changes to a sprinkler requirement for the 2024.
All right. And we do know that sprinklers save lives. I mean, we saw lots of demonstrations, right, when you did those at the city park, during our fire prevention efforts, demonstrations. So I guess that's one of the considerations, is that it also makes it safer for firefighters too.
Correct. Yeah. With adopting these new codes, that's something that I can draw on my own experience, coming as a firefighter and now into the prevention side, using some of those experiences and kind of knowing how the guys are going to use their tactics when they're called there for an emergency. So I feel like I can bring that perspective into it and hopefully help in that situation as well. So not only the safety of the public, but also for our responders as well. Mm-hmm.
Seth Frandsen is our Elko City Fire Marshal, as we're talking about the process of adopting the latest version of fire codes, which are all about safety. They do observe new materials that are offered because sometimes more, different materials are more fire resistant, and so that can affect or impact the codes that are adopted as well. So sounds like a good process, Seth. Thanks for taking that on.
Yep.
Yeah. Back over to our fire chief, James Johnston. I'm not sure if either of you started as volunteers, but it's a great starting place for someone who's thinking about a career in the fire service. We need volunteers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say that our last hire was a volunteer, which I'm pretty proud of. Ray Lara, who just started 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and we're proud of that. He came from the Leandra Company, and I really want to rebuild that pipeline so that we can develop people that want to be firefighters and that want to serve our community. And then actually we had Rhett Farnell, who was hired, and he was actually on the volunteers for a brief period before he was hired. But it is a good way if anybody has some type of goal that leads you to the fire service. Our volunteers are an excellent way to get training, certified. It is quite a process, but we invest a lot of time and money into that and make sure that they're getting the same training.
It's a great way to serve the community, for both men and women, certainly. And there are different ways that you can fill different positions, whether they're drivers or certainly I think everybody does kind of get the same training, but people can gravitate toward a skill that they really feel comfortable in when they're a volunteer.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many different categories, you could say, within the fire service. There's hazmat, rescue,
Oh, nice.
all kinds of different things that you can specialize in. And that's one thing that we've kind of opened up. We allow our volunteers to go to any training. We're having our aircraft rescue and firefighting recertification that'll be up in September. We invite all our volunteers to that too, and they can get the same certification as our paid staff. I think it's a really big, huge value. The more people we train, the better off we all are, and that it strengthens our entire service. So we're happy to offer that and to kind of bring them into the fold. And actually, that's where Ray, Laura just had finished all that. So he had already gone through that. So everything will basically be a review as we move forward, which is amazing to save the amount of time and effort. But the applications are open. They're online, and they're on our Facebook page too, to a direct link to it as well at the City of Elko website.
And that's elkocity.com. And so, Chief, about EMS, we're still first responders generally on a lot of our emergencies in the city, would you say?
Yeah, we work hand in hand with the Elko County Ambulance just as much as we ever have. There has been a new vamp with the psychiatric calls, which has benefited, I think, the community in general. The police department was steering that with the 988 campaign that's going through. And basically what's happening is the calls are being assessed by a qualified mental health associate that kind of takes the lead on those calls instead of having, say, police or fire take that, or even an ambulance person. So that's been, I think, a really big asset to us. And then also the third floor at the hospital will definitely help with that as well, adding another resource. They have a lot of good professionals that are coming to town that will help us in that problem that our community faces.
Oh, Chief, that's great news. I know that if the doors aren't open yet, they may have a soft opening plan. They needed to get doors. I mean, there were some challenges that were beyond their control that had to do with some building materials and things like that. So with that new tiered system and a different kind of response to those 988 calls, any family that's been through this can understand it should absolutely help, because it can just be scary or intimidating to have fire or police emergency lights and sirens come rolling up when you're having a mental health crisis.
And I think the biggest piece that misses out of that is a trained professional, right? Like it takes someone who is well versed in dealing with those situations to handle them, and we just don't have that kind of training and the personnel to manage that. And 988 does a really good job. And Chief Troughton the other day reported on it as well. Their success rate, I think, was in the 90 percentile for per call, which is amazing to me that it's that successful. But we're monitoring our calls. We have seen a drop. I'm not sure exactly the percentage, but I really am looking at that statistic since we implemented the 988 protocol.
When did that go into effect? Do you recall, Chief?
Last week.
Wow, that new. And that's terrific to hear. That will definitely make a difference in the community. And to be fair and to be honest, as you said, whether you're a fire professional or responding law enforcement, most of the time these folks don't need to go to jail. That just makes it worse. So. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Yeah, they need help. They need, or some people just need someone to talk to. And, as awesome as firefighters are, or even police, or like, you need someone who's professionally trained, and they have access to that. They can directly call the person and triage the call. But sometimes you may need help, and sometimes you may need to go to the hospital, and that's where we come back in, right? So I think that's been a missing link in our community for a while, and I'm glad that we're taking 988 and making it a part of what we do. So it'll definitely help out with the call volume, and also the vulnerability that our mental health issues that we have within our community.
Thanks, Chief. You are absolutely right. Firefighters and police, you guys are awesome, and that's a wonderful way to take care and to care for our community going forward. Thank you. So now we're going to switch back over to our fire marshal, Seth Frandsen, and talk about these new subdivisions that are either before the Planning Commission or have been. Our fire marshal actually goes out and does these inspections along with building inspectors. You do plans review. That saves the city a lot of money rather than going outside for professional services. I mean, there are a lot of responsibilities being the fire marshal.
Yeah, that's something that, again, I'm learning, something new for me. Luckily, we do have WC3 that helps us with that plans review. And so we've got that resource. But yeah, we've got some projects going on right now. The Bergeron Village up on East Jennings they're working on their phase 3 right now. I believe that's going to be presented to the Planning Commission tonight. So we've got that project. The townhouses on North 5th Street, they're well on their way to being completed. I think they only have a couple of buildings left up there. So yeah, we've got quite a few projects here around town that are in the works right now. The big Sandvik project over here on Silver Street, that one has pretty much wrapped up. They've moved in now. So yeah, we've Elko's always growing, and yeah, those are some of our bigger projects that we've got going on right now, and as Elko grows.
And the temple, that had to be another big one, right?
Yeah. So most of that was completed before I came in. As a firefighter, I was able to walk through it and just get a layout of it. But yeah, I think they're all squared away and ready to go up there. But yeah, that's definitely something that's new to something in that capacity to Elko. So.
And a beautiful building too.
Yes.
Oh, it looks amazing.
It is. Like, I think they're have an open house either this weekend or next weekend.
I'm not sure.
Whenever that is, I definitely recommend the community going in there. The amount of money they spent on the finish work.
Oh, just that.
Yeah,
right.
like the even the molding was like Brazilian chestnut or something.
Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
It was really cool. And the tile I know they said was from Verona, Italy.
Oh.
They had it shipped in, and it was really cool. It's a really cool building to see in our community.
Yeah, so please don't hit your golf balls in that direction. Yeah, I mean, come on, you guys and gals. So, but yeah, Seth, that's really cool to have that kind of diversity. You get to have an idea of what's coming up and growing, and with a new lift station, exit 298, we're probably going to see a lot of growth out there.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. As the infrastructure gets expanded out there, that obviously is more of an opportunity for growth. We've seen some out there, the big Komatsu project, the new gas station and truck stop that's out there. Something again, new things for our area that we haven't had before. But yeah, with the infrastructure expanding out there, that should allow for more growth. So that'll be exciting to see.
So, Chief, that's where you come in again, too, to talk about the fire department is always planning, and you're planning for yourselves, for this, meaning the safety of our community. So where might we grow next? We are looking at a new fire station, correct?
Yeah, correct. And that design phase went into bid last May. It's been almost a year. And so they're completing that. It was an amazing project to be a part of. ZGA was chosen by council to move forward with the design, and just a great group to work with. Their report is amazing. That'll hit here probably within the next 3 weeks. That'll be out to the public, and then on our Facebook page, and it'll also go to council.
Great.
But yeah, it was just an amazing document. They did a history. We worked together to go over plans, and then also our response coverage, the station placement on where that would be, all the different sites selected, and it was really just a really cool project to be a part of with them. Their engineers, everybody, like, they wanted to design it and make it a part of the community, and then kind of capture what the safety was within, say, exposures, and then have it a much safer setup for firefighters as they come into, say, the station life.
Yeah, one of the best fire stations I visited recently is in Park City. And, I mean, they have a lot of money, obviously. Park City, yeah, obviously. But they also made a very nice living space, and as you said, safety. Because you think about that, how much of, your life, Seth, that you spent at the fire department before you took the sort of 9-to-5 job. Yeah.
Yeah, just the schedule change alone has been a little bit of a challenge.
I bet.
I've never worked a Monday through Friday job, so... But yeah, no, it's been good, and growing up in the community, it's really nice to see the growth and how we're expanding now. So
Are you able to talk about the site yet, Chief? Is that something we can?
Yeah, no, that was been selected.
Oh,
yeah.
where is it going to be?
Across from the smoke shop.
Oh, it is that site,
Yeah,
the old Howard's on the Hill.
Yeah, so we did a traffic study, and then we also did a response coverage study, and we actually teamed up with the union. They have a whole statistic section that they go through, and we teamed up with them. They had their engineers and experts have like 3 different sites selected, and this was like a close second behind Lamont Highway and 12th Street. Those 2 sites were like identical as far as percentage match for the best station placement. We already have Station 3 on that side, so it wouldn't really make sense to build a station right next to another one that we could actually take the property and make it better. Actually, if you think about where I'd like to go in the future, if I had a whole like $1 billion that I can spend, I would definitely make Station 3 an actual station that we could live out of too, and have 3 areas.
Oh yeah,
which would be perfect and cover the whole city. But I know we're a limited amount of funds and people, so maybe in the future that'll come up when we expand that way too, and the station coverage would cover the entire city if we did that way. So this will put us a really good setup for that.
Yeah, that's great. Jumping on Spruce, and then plus you have that amazing view, literally, from that property.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You should be able to put some binoculars on and check things out. Make sure you build a deck on your second story if you get one. Yeah.
Oh, the deck.
Well,
maybe a really good window.
Okay, a good window. Yes, that's true. Well, we're enjoying our conversation as we talk with our Fire Chief, James Johnston, alongside our City Fire Marshal. Congratulations again to Seth Frandsen, who's been with the department now for 16 or more years and now in this new position. This is really wonderful news for the community. So we talked a little about growth, and we also want to talk about the success of the new dispatch, E911, and it just took forever for us to get on this system, Chief, and now that we're here, it's hard to believe we ever had anything else.
Yeah, and I will say, like, we're still at the beginning phase of making it all work. So
okay,
the dispatch center has now gone to the county, which was really a great move because they have the resources and the management and the people to make it done correctly, which is what it needed to have it under a single entity that it can follow a line of rules and kind of not be mashed together, which Carrie and Pam have done an amazing job recruiting and then getting the infrastructure together, and Lee Cabanis oversees that as well. So yeah, E911 funds that, all their specific hardware. The E911 it's under the county commission, but it has specific rules, so it can only be spent. The money can only be spent for specific things that are within dispatch, and they're doing a great job prioritizing and making it all work. Now they're kind of focusing on the system itself, so which is needed in Elko County. There's so many spots that can be improved, and
operability.
Yeah, exactly. They're working with the TV district. They're coming up with a lot of different partners to try to make it the coverage better, and then also so entities can communicate together.
That's wonderful news.
Because we're still pieced. Mm-hmm. We're still kind of fractured when it comes to 800 versus VHF, and we're not all on the same page. But we all want to be on the same page, and that's what we're trying to work on as a plan to get us there. Mm-hmm. So that when a call comes in, and if it's multidiscipline, we all go to one channel and communicate. And we don't have that ability right now, and that'll be huge for us.
Yeah, Nevada is not only the most arid state, we're the most mountainous state in the entire country. And so that's what makes that operability so difficult. Even though we have all this digital technology, we're not able to communicate through, the tons of granite and rock and, the mountains the mountainous terrain. Even terrestrial radio, we have those issues. So it's good to hear that our TV district, which I know we'll have to probably change the name because that's a really good funding increment. They get almost as much, if not more, than the fire district. And to be able to put those resources toward emergency communications is really a smart application. And Dale Lotspeech chairs that board, so he knows this firsthand.
Yeah, and we actually have a member now on their board as well, Ray Mowry.
Perfect.
Will be on there, and we rent space on a TV district site, and so it's kind of detrimental to infrastructure that we have currently that we all try to operate together. But there are some gaps. There's some major gaps that we can narrow in and try to make better. And common communications are definitely one of them. That's a big problem, and it always has been for Elko in general.
Well, it's good to know. It is a work in progress. Again, just the steps that have been achieved in E911, which is enhanced 911, to finally bring us into the 20th, let alone the 21st century. That was a tough haul. So, but a wise investment by everybody that has a cell phone at hand. Thank you, because you're contributing to that, and it's based on user fees. So, anything else that's either on the list, or I want to make sure, Seth, that we got to all of the topics you were hoping to bring to the radio show today.
Yeah, I think so. So, for me, like I said, I'm still learning. This is quite a learning process for me, getting into the swing of things and about this new role. So jumping into the codes has been a really big project for me starting off here. So,
well, we appreciate you very much. Thank you for dedicating your career and choosing to live here. And I think you have a family, right?
I do. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. My wife and I both grew up here in Elko, and we're raising our 4 kids here. So we have a vested interest in Elko and its success and safety. So yeah, I'm happy to be here and excited for this new opportunity.
Oh, we're very happy that you are, and thank you for choosing Elko. Yes, it matters. It really does. And same for you, Chief. You could have gone anywhere that you wanted in the country or the world, and you decided to come back home as well. So here you are.
Yeah, there's no place like home.
Yeah, he's clicking his ruby shoes right now. So thank you again. Volunteer for the fire department. Find information online. There are ways to support the fire department. Again, if there's anything that we missed that you're interested in, I know that you still do. You'll come and check on senior citizens if someone's struggling to install a smoke detector or CO detector, that kind of thing, right? You don't want people climbing on ladders that shouldn't be.
Absolutely not. No, and I think that's one of the best parts of living in a small community is that we're always willing to go to any residence within the city. We've even gone outside the city to get people smoke detectors or carbon monoxide detectors, whatever they need to make sure their house is safe. And if we can't get it, we usually get them in touch with someone who can. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just give us a call or however you want to get a hold of us, we'll make it work.
Well, thanks for hosting all the kids who love to come out and see the fire trucks on field trips, and I'm sure you get a few of those in during the spring. The teachers are like, let us out of these classrooms. So, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll have our open house again in September.
Perfect.
And that'll be another fire prevention theme when we do Fire Prevention Week. September or October. It depends on how it works out this year.
Yeah, a lot of competition for stuff. And we look forward to meeting with you as always. Appreciate the work. And we'll catch up next time because I know you had a great presentation before council on getting a new fire engine. And that's always exciting. Who doesn't love a new fire engine? So, and good planning on that one too, Chief.
Yeah, especially because it takes 3 years to get one.
Yeah.
So we had to make sure that we have everything planned out, ready to go, and the funding source.
Yep, and the city council, thank you for supporting the fire department. I think it was Mayor Keener who said it best. He said, "This is not a want. This is a need." And so the city didn't hesitate and voted unanimously to proceed with that. So very cool. All right, he's checking his phone. That means he's probably got to go. I'll thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Lori.
Thank you to our Fire Chief James Johnston and to our Fire Marshal Seth Frandsen, our guest on Elko Live today.
Thanks.